Where are the returns for investors in Nigeria? Is it in stocks, bonds, startups, or treasury bills? Speaking of treasury bills, the latest treasury bill auction on Wednesday saw about 120 billion naira on offer with a 2x oversubscription of about 249 billion, with most of that seen on the longest tenure, the 364. 130 billion is what was allotted, with stop rates ranging from 1.74% to about 4.79 for the 364. So joining us to discuss stocks, startups, cryptos, fixed income, money markets is Ajibola Akamo, who is an analyst with Nairametrics Financial Advocacy. Ajibola, good to see you. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. What do you make of the stop rates for the latest T-bill auction for people trying to make some money?
Well, for me, I think the latest T-bill auction basically shows how much interest people are in the product itself, and also shows the viability and the reliance on T-bills. So people are trying to invest more. People are trying to put their money in safer assets in amidst, the current rising inflation the Nigerian economy is facing. So definitely, it's a good performance, and oversubscription is always good. And definitely, we should expect more of this trend along the way.
Thanks for that. Now, I'm going to switch back and forth from different things here. So startups, as far as, I guess, because I think the platform, in fact, they're having a discussion on how to start a successful business in this climb. As far as startups are concerned, if you want to be successful, what are the tools needed to get that off the ground?
I think the most important tool you need is information. Once you understand the market you're trying to get into, information is very, very key. Sourcing for that information, paying for that information, and knowing how to transform information to profitability. That's a very, very important tool that an individual will definitely need. Aside that, you need to also understand the markets. What are the nitty-gritties? Who are the major players? Who are your competitors? What other products that exist? Who are also your potential competitors in the space? That information is also very, very key. Another thing you need to know is regulation. The Nigerian space and its ever-evolving regulatory climate is one important thing that you need to know. You need to understand the regulation of whatever product you're trying to offer, whether there's clear regulatory oversight over it, or whether there's no clear regulatory oversight. So those 3 points that I just mentioned are actually very, very important in the long run, because regulation, key information, and understanding your market are the very, very most important tools that you can arm yourself with before actually venturing into the startup.
All right, great stuff. Let's go to cryptos. One area that is regulated here, as far as financial institutions not being allowed to facilitate them. What about navigating volatility and risks in the crypto space?
Well, the cryptocurrency space is known for its volatility. I mean, we've seen Bitcoin over the last 4 years crash over 50% 4 times. And the trend is going to continue because right now the cryptocurrency space market capitalization is about 1.7 trillion. So it's not really capitalized. It's not capitalized compared to other markets like the US stock market, the bond markets, and all other markets. It's not so capitalized. So the volatility is going to continue. We're going to see so much volatility. So investing in the cryptocurrency space, most important thing is, as a newbie, always stick to top 10 cryptocurrencies: the Bitcoin, the Ethereum, the Cardanos, and a mentality that people need to carry in the cryptocurrency space is you need to get greedy when others are fearful, and fearful when others are greedy. And that mindset goes when the price is going up, people want to buy. And you need to be fearful then when there is a lot of hype around cryptocurrency or a particular cryptocurrency. And when people are scared and when we're seeing significant market downturns like we're experiencing currently, that's time to start picking up. So I'll always tell people, buy the dip. Do your own research. It's very, very important. You need to understand what you're buying. You need to understand the use case. You need to understand the value proposition. Very, very important information you need to arm yourself with. And when you arm yourself with this information, it's very, very easy to navigate volatility because you are committed to the project. You understand that project. And then buying the tokens is not somewhat for just financial gain, but because you understand and believe in the longevity of that particular token.
All right. Okay, back to startups. I'm going to take this to the base level here. An Akara stand, or in local parlance, a vulcanizer on the side of the road pumping tires, doesn't that qualify as a startup? Or are we just, whenever we talk startups, are we only limiting it to tech when it comes to successful businesses here?
All right, so I mean, it goes down to the definition of what a startup is, right? If you're defining startup as a business that is just starting there, yes, the Akara seller is a startup also if the person is just starting the business. And I mean, it's easy to get or to lose the definition in terms of what's happening with Nigeria's fintech space with a lot of funding coming into the space. But even down to basic businesses, or what I would like to describe as basic businesses, like the Akara seller example you just brought up, it is still a startup. The person is just starting their business, so it's still a startup, and we should classify those businesses also as startups.
I wholeheartedly agree. That's why I asked you. To the stock market, I think it's up by double digits so far. Is it? Are we looking at that as the best place to make some money, considering its own volatility and risk as well on the NGX?
Okay, so I mean, the NGX is a beautiful story. The ASI is actually trading at a price point that has not been traded in almost 14 years, and the reason why the NGX right now it's a good time to start investing your money is because we're seeing stellar performances from different companies that are listed on the exchange. I'll give you guys a few. UBA posted their Q1 and they posted a profit of 42 billion, and that is up 8.76% year on year. That's against the first quarter of 2021. GT also posted 43 billion, although GT recorded a decline by 5%. Their interest income, which is the major source of income for banking stocks, increased by 17%. Let's go into the brewery industry right now. We're seeing Nigerian breweries posting profits of 7% gain year on year, comparing Q1 again. And going to the cement industry, BUA Cement also posting profits, I think about 50% in profits Q1 against Q1 also. So these stellar performances by these companies have actually propelled the NGX as a viable investment tool. And it's beautiful to see that the local players, I mean, the domestic investors are the ones that are actually driving the markets. According to NGX March 2022 report, I think the domestic market accounts for about 77% of the transactions going into the market, while the foreign players account for about 23% approximately. So it shows that there's local participation. Although, and also to speak to the market capitalization, when we were trading at this ASI about 14 years ago, the market capitalization of the NGX was actually around 8 to 9 trillion naira. Right now, the ASI is at an all-time high, trading at 26 trillion naira right now, and that is a very, very beautiful thing. We're seeing more debt and more investments in the market, and majorly attributable to legacy companies like Dangote, Zenith Bank, Guarantee Trust that have stood the test of time. Even when the market downs or the market crash of 2008 happened, these companies have thrived and have shown their potential in the long run. And also the new companies we're seeing today, Airtel Africa, BUA Cement, MTN, these companies also coming into the market has also bolstered the performance of the market. So if you're really looking to make money, definitely go to the NGX right now, pick up a share, pick up, of course, read the financial statements, yeah, but pick up 1 or 2 shares, and I'm sure that it will be very, very profitable for you.
All right, very in-depth. Okay, so back to startups now. What about the role that the Nigerian business environment plays in the success or failure of a startup? What do aspiring startup founders need to watch out for?
I would say yes. The aspirants they need to understand the Nigerian environment, and the Nigerian business environment plays a key factor. I would weight 50%, because why? If you do not have an enabling environment, there's no business that will thrive. If you do not have stable regulations, there's no business that will thrive. If you do not have clear knowledge or information or resources to actually drive your business, of course, your startup is not going to succeed. So the Nigerian business environment is very, very key. And, unfortunately, we're suffering from so many things. And I would like to include traffic, one of them, epileptic power supply, and all these little nuanced factors have actually created a very, very destructive environment for the success of startups in Nigeria. I mean, imagine the price of diesel right now. You're running a company, your staff have to come to work. In January, we were paying about 200 naira, 230 naira for diesel. Right now, you're paying 610 naira per liter for diesel. These factors the enabling environment, right? And that it makes it difficult because you're spending more to keep your business running. And that is one of the most crippling aspects for startups, especially. Legacy organizations can stand the test of time because why? They have excessive capital, they have funds to throw around. But startups, they are basically small organizations that are very, very vulnerable. And if the business environment is not stable enough, these startups are actually going to crumble. And that is one major thing that we need to take into consideration. Into consideration. Sorry. Thank you.
Great stuff. Okay, back to stocks. How important is due diligence when researching stocks on the exchange?
Stocks, cryptos, bonds, treasury bill, everything you need to, in any investment vehicle in general, you do need to do your own research. I'll borrow that phrase or abbreviation for the cryptocurrency space. It's called DIOR. That stands for do your own research. So you always have to do your own research. You always have to understand. And I understand that financial knowledge is not basically popular. People may not necessarily understand what they're reading, but they should always seek the help of financial advisors consistently. Why do you need financial advisors? You need to, if you don't understand a product, if somebody walks up to you, tells you about a product, you don't really understand it, you should seek the help of a financial advisor to help you understand the product you are investing in. And when you understand that product, you understand, and of course, do your own personal due diligence in the stock, in the bond, whatever asset you're trying to invest in, definitely you're going to thrive. Definitely you're going to be okay. And then, it helps, especially with the whole case of Ponzi schemes we're seeing in Nigeria. A lot due diligence, checking, and also putting things into perspective help to probe against these, what's it called, terrible acts of scams and all that. So I advise people always do your due diligence, check the profitability of the stock, check the business viability, attend the investment calls, ask the board of directors and the management team questions about their profitability and what they're doing. So it's very, very important for everybody to do that.
Great stuff. You're sounding like our guest in our last segment, our Rise business analyst, Chika Mboni. He has a public service announcement every time on Ponzi schemes, so it's very important to put that out there. Ajibola, Akamo, we wish you had more time to get more into startups, stocks, cryptos, and so on, but thank you so much for your time. Very in-depth discussion there on what to look out for as far as making some returns. Ajibola Akamo, who is an analyst with Nairametrics, thank you so much for joining us.